Welcome to Data with Srinivas. In this lesson, we are going to learn SQL having clause. The main goal is simple. By the end of this lesson, we should clearly understand the difference between where and having. In the previous lesson, group by helped us summarize healthcare claim records into provider level reports. Today, we take the next professional step. We'll learn how to filter those summarized groups so business users see only the results that matter. We'll use Healthcare Claims DB version 2.0 and our examples will match the actual database schema. The key tables for this lesson are claims, providers, members, and insurance plans. Let us begin with the business question that creates the need for having. Here is today's business question. The Chief Financial Officer says, show only providers whose total claim amount exceeded $1,000 during 2025. This sounds very similar to the group by report we built in the previous lesson. But there is one important difference. Group by gives us every provider summary that is useful, but the CFO does not want every provider. The CFO wants only the providers that cross specific business threshold. So our real problem is not just summarizing the data. Our problem is filtering summarized data. That is exactly where having becomes an important. Most beginners try to solve this problem with where. They write something like where sum of claim amount is greater than 1000. That looks reasonable at first, but SQL Server will reject it. Why? Because where runs before group by. At the moment, where is evaluated, SQL has not yet calculated the sum. The provided totals do not exist yet. Where can filter individual claim rows, such as claims from 2025 or PPO claims. But where cannot filter a provided total claim amount because that total is created later by group by clause and aggregate function. So the beginner mistake teaches us the reason having exists. Aggregate conditions belong in having, not in where. In SSMS, we can demonstrate this error quickly, but the key idea is this: where cannot filter a calculation that does not exist yet. This slide gives us the complete mental model. We start with individual rows in the claims table. Each row represents one claim in this database. First, where filters the rows that are allowed to participate in the report. For example, where can keep only claims from 2025. Next, group by creates provider summaries. Instead of seeing every claim row, we now have one row per provider. Then, having filters those provider summaries. This is where we can say keep only providers whose total claim amount is greater than $1,000. Finally, order by presents the final report in order we want. The golden idea is where filters before aggregation, having filters after aggregation. If learners remember this flow, having become logically rather than confusing. From and where decide which row level claim records can participate in the report. Step 2. Group by builds the summaries such as one row per provider or one row per plan type. Step 3. Having filters those summarized groups after the aggregate values exist. Step 4. Select and order by becomes the presentation layer, choosing the columns and sorting the final report. Close with where filters rows before aggregation, having filters summarized groups after the aggregation. Let us compare where and having side by side. Where filters individual rows, it runs before group by. It uses row level conditions such as plan types equal to PPO or claim date is in 2025. Having filters group results. It runs after group by. It commonly uses aggregate conditions such as sum of claim amount greater than 1000 or count greater than 5. This is the simplest rule for the lesson, where filter rows having filters groups. For healthcare reporting, this distinction matters. If the business question is about individual claims, use where. The business question is about provider totals, plan type count, monthly averages, or other summarized values, use having. Now let us look at the syntax pattern we'll use in SSMS. Here is the professional SQL pattern. We select the group column and calculate an aggregate value such as sum, count, or average. From tells SQL where to read the data. Where filters individual rows before grouping. Group by creates one summary row for each group. Having filters those summarized groups after the aggregate values are calculated. Order by sorts the final report. Notice the practical workflow. Use where first to reduce unnecessary rows, then use group by to create the summaries, then use having to keep only the summaries that satisfy the business requirement. This is the pattern we use in the demonstrations. Now we are ready for the first real having query. Business question which provides had more than $1,000 in total claim amount during 2025. We start from the claims table and join two providers so the report can display provider name instead of provider ID. The where clause keeps only claims where claim date greater than or equal to January 1st, 2025 and less than January 1st, 2026. This is a production-friendly date range filter. Group by creates one summary row per provider. Sum of claim amount calculates the total claim amount for each provider. Having then keeps only the provider summaries where the total claim amount is greater than 1,000. Order by sorts the remaining providers from highest to lowest. Total claim amount. Important wording. We are calling this total claim amount, not revenue. Claim amount is the claim amount in the database. Revenue would require a defined paid or recognized revenue field. The having clause is not limited to sum. It can also work with count, average, min, and max. In this example, the business question is which providers are associated with more than 5 claims during 2025. Again, we join claims to provider and filter the claim rows to 2025 using where clause. Group by creates one row per provider. Count star counts the number of rows in the claims table for each provider. In Healthcare Claims DB version 2.0, one row in claims represent one claim. So count star is appropriate here. This gives us an important data analyst habit. Always ask, what does one row represent? If the database had separate claim header and claim line tables, count star after join might be count lines instead of claims. But in this schema, one row equals one claim. Now let us combine where, group by, and having in a more realistic business report. The business question is about PPO claims, but plan type is not stored in the claims table in this database. To find plan type, you need to follow the schema. Claims joined to members through the member ID and members joined to insurance plans through the plan ID. That gives us access to the insurance plans, plan type. This is an important professional lesson. Before writing SQL, we must understand where the business attribute actually lives, where filters the individual rows to PPO claims. Group by creates provider summaries. Having keeps only provider summaries whose claim count is greater than 2. This matches the real healthcare claims DB version 2.0 schema and avoids pretending that plan type exists directly in claims. Let us pause and review the most important having mistakes to avoid before recording reports. The first mistake is putting aggregate functions in where. Where runs too early before aggregate values exist. The second mistake is confusing rows with the groups. Where works with rows, having works with the grouped summaries. The third mistake is calling claim amount is revenue without checking the data meaning. In this database, claim amount represents the claim amount. If we want paid amount, we should use the payments table and payment amount. The fourth mistake is saying provider process claims. From the payer's perspective, providers usually submit claims associated with the claims. The health plan processes or adjudicates them. The fifth mistake is using 2024 dates. This version of the database contains 2025 and 2026 claim dates. So 2024 filter would return no useful result. The correction makes the lesson more accurate and more professional. Now it is your turn. Here is the practice challenge. Show plan types that have more than 20 claims. Only include 2025 claims. The average claim amount must be above $300. Sort the result by highest average claim amount first. Before writing the query, think like a data analyst. Which rows do we need? Claims from 2025. How do we reach plan type? Claims joins to the member table and member join to the insurance plans table. How should we group the data by plan type? What should we calculate? Count star for total claims and average of claim amount for average claim amount. Which groups should remain? Groups with more than 20 claims and average claim amount above $300. How should we present the result? Order by average claim amount descending. This is the clean solution for the practice challenge. We join claims to members, then members to insurance plans, because plan type lives in insurance plans, where filter rows to 2025. Group by creates one summary per plan type. Count and average calculates the matrix. Having keeps only plan types with more than 20 claims and an average claim amount above 300. Order by sorts by highest average claim amount to first. Let us review the lesson. Where decides which rows participate in the report. Group by creates summaries from those rows. Having decides which summaries remain. Order by presents the final report. The most important rule is still simple. Where filter rows, having filters groups. Today we used having with sum, count and average. Style business thinking. We also corrected the queries to match actual healthcare claims DB version 2.0 schema. In this next lesson, we'll learn case when. Case when helps us create custom reports categories such as high claim amount, medium claim amount, and low claim amount. That will help us build smarter and more business-friendly SQL reports. Thank you for learning with data with Srini. I will see you in lesson 6.